the automobile organization with the most famous name. A brand that has successfully captured the hearts of many motorists. A company that produces modern, powerful, elegant and daring cars all over the world. BMW. The BMW brand appeared and found success not immediately. She had ups and downs, a crash and incredible growth. She has experienced a lot, allowing us to say that the history of this company is really interesting and unique. Today we will tell you, why did the company initially not plan to produce cars at all? What does the creator of BMW have in common with the man who invented the internal combustion engine? Why is BMW closely connected with aviation? The company's secret cooperation with the Soviet Union, and as the company's main competitor, Mercedes-Benz, almost swallowed up the BMW brand. You are on the AutoTop channel and this is a unique history of the BMW brand. Let's go! On the northern outskirts of Munich, Karl Rapp and Gustav Otto, the son of the inventor of the internal combustion engine Nikolaus August Otto, create two small aircraft engine companies. The outbreak of the First World War immediately brought numerous orders for aircraft engines. Rapp and Otto decide to merge into one aircraft engine plant. So in Munich there is an aircraft engine plant, which in July 1917 was registered under the name Bavarian Engine Plants, BMW. This date is considered to be the year BMW was founded, and Karl Rapp and Gustav Otto were its creators. Max Fritz, who worked at the Daimler plant, was invited to the position of chief designer at BMW. Under the leadership of Fritz, the BMW 3 aircraft engine was manufactured, which successfully passed bench tests. Equipped with this engine, the aircraft set a world record at the end of the year, climbing to an altitude of 9,760 meters. At the same time, the BMW logo appeared, a circle divided into two blue and two white sectors, which was a stylized image of a propeller rotating against the sky. It was also taken into account that blue and white are the national colors of the land of Bavaria. After the end of the First World War, the company was on the verge of collapse since under the Treaty of Versailles, the Germans were forbidden to produce engines for airplanes, namely engines at that time were the only BMW products. But the enterprising Karl Rapp and Gustav Otto find a way out of the situation. The plant is repurposed to produce first motorcycle engines and then the motorcycles themselves. In 1923, the first A32 motorcycle was released from the BMW factory. At the Paris Motor Show, this first BMW motorcycle immediately gained a reputation as a high-speed and reliable car, which was confirmed by absolute speed records at international motorcycle races of the 20s. Soon, two influential businessmen appeared in the history of BMW, Goethe and Shapiro, to whom the company departed, falling into the abyss of debts and losses. The main reason for the crisis was the underdevelopment of its own automobile production, along with which the company, by the way, was engaged in the production of aircraft engines. And since the latter, unlike cars, brought the bulk of the means for existence and development, BMW found itself in an unenviable position. The medicine was invented by Shapiro, who was on a short leg with the English car manufacturer Herbert Austin and was able to negotiate with him about the start of mass production of Austins in Eisenach. Moreover, the production of these machines was put on the conveyor belt, which by that time, except for BMW, only Daimler-Benz could boast of. By 1928, more than 15,000 Austins had been manufactured, which played a crucial role in the revival of the BMW company. Shapiro became interested in the possibility of producing cars of his own design and began negotiating with the famous designer and designer Wunderbold Kahn. As a result, an agreement was reached and another talented person was involved in the development of the now famous automobile brand. Kahn has been developing new components and assemblies for BMW for several years. Meanwhile, the issue of the approval of the trademark was being resolved positively for BMW. The company acquires car factories in Eisenach and with them a license for the production of a subcompact car, Austin. During the period of economic difficulties, the subcompact becomes the most popular car in Europe. And on April 1, 1932, the premiere of the first real BMW was scheduled, which later, and the recognition of the automotive press and became the starting point for the release of a car of its own design. The same car, with a well-thought-out body received from the outside, was a combination of new ideas and developments with those already well-known and used on Austin models. The engine power was 20 horsepower, which was enough to drive at a speed of 80 km/h. A very successful development was a 4-speed gearbox, which was not offered on any other model until 1934. By the beginning of the Second World War, BMW was one of the most dynamically developing companies in the world, producing equipment with a sports orientation. She has several world records to her credit. Wolfgang von Gronau on an open Dornier-Wall seaplane equipped with a BMW engine crosses the North Atlantic from east to west, and Stenny on an A12 motorcycle sets a world speed record for motorcycles 279.5 km/h, not surpassed by anyone over the next 14 years. Production gets an additional boost after the conclusion of a secret agreement with Soviet Russia to supply it with the latest aircraft engines. Most of the Soviet record flights of the 30s were carried out on airplanes equipped with BMW engines. In 1933, the production of the Model 303 began, the first BMW car with a 6-cylinder engine, which debuted at the Berlin Automobile Exhibition. His appearance became a real sensation. This inline 6 with a working volume of 1.2 litres allowed the car to move at a speed of 90 km/h and became the basis for many subsequent BMW sports projects. The BMW 303 was perfect for the autobahns that were actively being built in Germany at that time. Immediately after the presentation, a run was made on it throughout the country, and in this action the car proved itself only from the good side. People were willing to pay the price set by the manufacturer for this car. Moreover, wealthy BMW fans chose the 303rd model with a sporty 2-seater roadster body. During the 2 years of production of the BMW 303, the company managed to sell 2,300 such cars. Then the BMW 319 and BMW 329 were released, which were more like sports cars. The maximum speed of the first, for example, was 130 km/h. Along with all the previous cars, the Model 326, which appeared at the Berlin Automobile Exhibition in 1936, looked simply gorgeous. This four-door car was far from the world of sports, and its rounded design already belonged to the direction that came into force in the 50s. An open top, good quality, a chic interior, and a large number of new changes and additions put the 326th model on a par with Mercedes-Benz cars, whose buyers were very wealthy people. With a mass of 1,125 kilograms, the BMW 326 model accelerated to 115 km/h as much as possible and at the same time consumed 12.5 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers of mileage. With similar characteristics and with its appearance, the car was included in the list of the company's best models and was produced until 1941, when BMW's production volume was almost 16,000 units. With such a large number of cars produced and sold, the BMW 326 became the best pre-war model. In 1936, BMW produced the famous 328, one of the most successful sports cars. With its appearance, the ideology of BMW was finally formed, which to this day defines the concept of new models: the car is for the driver. The main competitor, Mercedes-Benz, follows the principle, the car is for passengers. Since then, each firm has been going its own way, proving that it is its choice that is correct. The outbreak of war leads to the suspension of the production of cars. Priority is again given to aircraft engines. In 1944, BMW was the first in the world to launch a jet engine. Rocket engines are also being tested. The end of the Second World War was a disaster for the concern. 4 factories located in the eastern zone of occupation have been destroyed and dismantled. The equipment was partially exported to Russia, and what remained was used for the production of BMW 321 and BMW 340 models, which were also sent to the USSR. The only more or less livable plants were 2 plants in the city of Munich, around which BMW shareholders focused their main efforts. The company was not in the best position, but in 1951 it presented a prototype of the future BMW 501 car, which featured a large 4-door sedan body, drum brakes and a 65-horsepower engine. The novelty was received in 2 ways, with interest and with surprise. The second, most likely, was caused by the fact that the company could not even financially ensure the mass production of the 501st model, and therefore only 49 cars were assembled in 1952. But what is most surprising is the idea that was maturing in the minds of BMW designers at that time. They decided to release a luxury model. In 1955, the release of the A50 and A51 models begins, opening a new generation of motorcycles with a fully sprung chassis. A subcompact Isetta comes out, a strange symbiosis of a motorcycle with a car. A 3-wheeled car with a door opening forward in motion was a huge success in impoverished post-war Germany. Along with Baby Isetta, BMW introduced 2 luxury 503 and 507 coupes based on the 5 Series sedan. Both cars were quite sporty at that time, although they had a civilian appearance. For example, the maximum speed of the 507 varied somewhere between 190 and 210 km per hour. A similar result was achieved thanks to the 3.2-litre engine, but because of the subsequent fascination with large limousines and the associated losses, the company is on the verge of collapse. This is the only case in the entire history of BMW when the economic situation was miscalculated and the cars thrown on the market were not in demand. Models belonging to the 5th series did not improve the position of BMW in the 50s. On the contrary, debts began to increase rapidly, sales decreased. To remedy this situation, the bank, which provided assistance to BMW and was one of the largest shareholders of Daimler-Benz, offered to set up production of a small and not very expensive Mercedes-Benz car at the factories in Munich. Thus, the existence of BMW as an independent company producing original cars with its own name and trademark was jeopardized. BMW's small shareholders and dealerships throughout Germany actively opposed this proposal. By joint efforts, a certain amount of money was collected, which was required for the development and launch of a new model of a middle-class BMW, which was to significantly improve the company's position in the 60s. Having rebuilt the capital structure, BMW manages to continue its activities. The 3rd time the firm starts all over again. A middle-class car was supposed to be a family car for average, and not only Germans. It was almost impossible to put the car into production by 1961 and then present it at the Frankfurt Motor Show. There simply wasn't enough time. Therefore, under the pressure of the sales department, several prototypes were urgently prepared for the exhibition, designed to attract future customers. The bet was made and in many ways justified itself. During the exhibition period and over the next few weeks, about 20,000 orders were made for the BMW 1500. Try to imagine the situation in which the company found itself, having produced only 2,000 cars in 1962. In general, the production of the BMW 1500 model for the entire time of its existence on the conveyor amounted to 23,000 copies. This was the beginning of the rise to the top of the automotive industry. New factories are being opened, the world's first serial turbo model, 2002 Turbo, is being produced, an anti-lock braking system is being created, with which all leading automakers are now equipping their cars. In 1972, the enchanting BMW 3.0 CSL appeared. the company's unique car, which can accelerate to 100 km per hour in 7.4 seconds. In addition, the car weighed quite a bit, thanks to the use of aluminum in the production of doors, trunk and hood. The BMW car has become lighter and faster, which has hooked many motorists, and they have purchased a car of this brand. Then came the legendary era of the car building, the 80s to 90s. The BMW E24 replaced the CS and CSL models produced since 1965. Production began in March 1976 with two models, 630CS and 633CSI. In the early years of production, the body was produced at the Carman factories, but later production was established at its own factories. During these years, there was terrible competition among various car companies. BMW brand managers gave freedom to their engineers, and the first versions of the most legendary models of this brand began to appear. The famous BMW Alpina B7 Turbo, BMW 3rd, 5th, 6th and 7th series. Videos about these legendary models are already on our channel. Those who have not watched must watch, and we continue on. The history of BMW is interesting from the point of view of the absorption of different brands. When the company began to show good growth, the people at the head of the brand began to think about becoming the main car manufacturer in the world, pushing all BMW competitors. There are several ways to deal with this, to produce high-quality cars that will be constantly popular with customers. Minimize costs, which will affect a short-term increase in profits, but may lead to serious losses in the quality of products manufactured under the BMW brand. Expand by absorbing competitive brands or companies that can help in development. BMW began to use all three methods, including absorption. One of these companies, which was absorbed by BMW, became Mini. Mini is a legendary automobile brand engaged in the production of subcompact cars. The brand came to the industry from England and successfully established itself in the market. The BMW brand saw good prospects in the brand, so it decided to completely absorb it. In 2001, Mini, under the patronage of BMW, released the Mini model, which became wildly popular in the world. By 2014, the company's model range included 9 basic models that were popular. But in 2015, the brand decided to reduce the number of models produced to 5 in order to focus all attention on them. BMW decided to acquire Rolls-Royce Motors in 1998. Even then, the brand supplied its engines and basic components for the production of premium class cars to AR. But at the same time, Volkswagen offered an order of magnitude larger amount for the AR brand, and the BMW deal went out from under its nose. Subsequently, Volkswagen was unable to quickly change all the necessary components to its own, which is why it had to sit down at the negotiating table with BMW. BMW became the absolute owner of Rolls-Royce and made it a subsidiary. It was a new milestone in the history of BMW. Today, many components in Rolls-Royce are manufactured by BMW, which allows BMW to conduct various experiments with cars, producing high-quality BMW cars for the end consumer. BMW's history got an interesting twist when the company decided to enter the premium market. She began to produce expensive and powerful cars for sums that were far from the average motorist. Even from those who are devoted BMW fans and follow the history of the company from the very foundation of the brand. Among the premium class BMW cars, Rolls-Royce cars can be distinguished. Modern models of this brand are among the most expensive in the world. They are distinguished by increased comfort while driving on the road. Inside, you can hardly hear what is happening outside, which creates ideal conditions even for simple movement in a car. Of its own cars under the BMW Premium brand, it is worth highlighting the BMW Premium Selection. This is a great car with good technical indicators. There is an excellent model for the premium market, BMW 118i, which accelerates to 100 km per hour in just 8.5 seconds. The 118i has a stylish appearance that captures the eyes of passers-by. There is an ultra-modern BMW i8 model with a futuristic design, characterized by progressiveness and novelty for familiar cars. Naturally, they cost a lot of money, which is why they belong to the premium segment of cars. The history of BMW continues successfully today. The company produces modern, powerful, elegant and daring cars for different target segments. the brand has successfully captured the hearts of many motorists around the world. BMW is wildly popular in all countries and is one of the best car manufacturers. Look into the courtyard of your house. With a high probability there will be at least one BMW car, or even several. As they say, the result is on the face. In 2018, BMW showed revenue of $97 billion. The profit amounted to almost $10 billion. From it, the net profit is $7 billion. Equity is equal to $15 billion, and the number of employees at the end of 2018 is 134,682 people. In 2019, the value of the BMW brand was estimated at $40 billion. Today, the history of BMW opens up new horizons. The BMW brand, releasing new cars, does not forget about the environment. In the 21st century, this topic is especially relevant, so BMW is trying to produce cars that would not harm the environment. For example, the brand actively produces electric cars that emit absolutely no gases and harmful substances into the air. He increases the speed of his cars and constantly experiments in production, trying to make the highest quality and beautiful car for the buyer. BMW is a unique brand with an interesting history. He went through ups and downs, was on the verge of total collapse and flew high in the sky during his peak growth. BMW, as before, continues to produce high-quality and powerful cars that capture the hearts of motorists. Try to ride a BMW and you will understand why this brand is loved by such a huge number of people around the world. This is one of the few automotive companies that does not use robots in factories. All assembly on the conveyor goes only manually. The output is only computer diagnostics of the main parameters of the car. Over the past 30 years, only BMW and Toyota concerns have managed to work with annually increasing profits. The BMW empire, which has been on the verge of collapse 3 times in its history, has risen and achieved success each time. For everyone in the world, the BMW concern is synonymous with high standards in the field of automotive comfort, safety, technology, and Bavarian quality. Well, that's it. Which brand's history would you like to see in the next video? Write in the comments. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss interesting videos.